how much vitamin D we need. Does the sunshine is not enough?
Despite of having so much sunlight in India, we still have vitamin D deficient. That's a perfect example that sunlight is not good enough to synthesize the amount of vitamin D your body needs. Half of the world is deficient in vitamin D. Some part of the world is more deficient than other part of the world.
Having a non-veg diet is sufficient to meet their D requirement? Vitamin D is more frequently a center of conversation in both the medical community and at dining table. So we have with us Dr. Amit, a renowned pulmonologist from New York. With expertise in respiratory health and a deep understanding of the healthcare landscape, both in India and US, Dr. Amit brings a unique insight into the complexity of vitamin D. So let's delve into this intriguing topic with Dr. Amit.
Well, thank you so much, Poonam, for a kind introduction, and thank you for having me here. You brought a very important medical topic. I think vitamin D is a current discussion topic in medical community. The vitamin D, first of all, is actually a misnomer. It's not a vitamin. Vitamin is, by definition, vitamin is organic substance which cannot be synthesized by human body, and vitamin D can be synthesized by human body. So therefore, it is not a vitamin in a true sense. However, it is actually a endogenous steroid which is produced by body and exposure to sunlight. And vitamin D plays a very important integral role in bone and mineral metabolism, cardiovascular health, respiratory diseases, and also immunity. So having a vitamin D deficiency predisposed for many different illnesses.
Oh, okay. So it means that other vitamins, we get it from the dietary sources only, and vitamin D our body can produce, right? That's the difference between vitamin D and other vitamins like A, B, C.
Yeah, right. Other vitamins cannot be synthesized, so therefore it has to be ingested by human.
Okay.
However, vitamin D can be synthesized by human and also animal and plants.
That's great. Dr. Amit, actually, the major concern is the D deficiency, which is more prevalent in India as compared to other Western countries. Your viewpoint and how much vitamin D we need, and does the sunshine is not enough?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because that's one of the myths that sunlight is good enough to correct vitamin deficiency. Despite of having so much sunlight in India, we still have vitamin D deficient. That's a perfect example that sunlight is not good enough to synthesize the amount of vitamin D your body needs. Half of the world is deficient in vitamin D, maybe more than half. Some part of the world is more deficient than other part of the world, and many in developed countries and in many Western countries, they have adopted fortified milk and bread and some other fortification process or supplementation process to overcome vitamin D deficiency. Therefore, you may think it is probably less common. Despite of this, the prevalence is still around 40% of vitamin D deficiencies.
And I have one more question. Those who are actually the non-veg eaters, having a non-veg diet is sufficient to meet their D requirement?
Yeah, so very good question. As you know, in India, a lot of people are vegan or vegetarian, or occasional meat eater. And the vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin which resides in fat cells and liver and fat, which we may not consume. So therefore, even for occasional meat eaters, the animal-based vitamin D may not be enough to overcome their vitamin deficiency and be able to complete their need on daily basis.
And what about the vegetarian population? Since India, majority of the people are vegetarian, so how they meet their D requirements?
Yeah, that's why they're deficient. I think that's why they're deficient, because they are not able to meet.
So it means that most of the vegetarian people are D deficient, or
I would say even non-vegetarian, because they are not consuming on daily basis. So vegetarian more so than non-vegetarian, but even non-vegetarian, occasional meat eaters, and are probably vitamin D deficient.
So what are the sources available for the vegetarian population, to meet their D requirements?
So there are two types of vitamin D, D2, D3. D2 is plant-based vitamin D, which is present in mushroom and yeast. And D3 is animal-based vitamin D, which is present in fat cells in certain animals. So therefore, for vegan, I think there are not many options. mushroom is a good example or good option for vitamin D enriched sources. Many countries has adopted um, production of high vitamin D level mushrooms, which can be very helpful, and it's already out there in many countries, and obviously it's not here yet, but hopefully in future we'll see high vitamin D mushrooms.
So, as a co-founder of Planet Mushroom, I'm more keen to explore your perspective that whether incorporating more mushrooms in our diet could able to improve the vitamin D level. What's your viewpoint on that?
Right. It's a good question. I think if you go by very basics, not to bore everybody about the biochemistry of vitamin D, but vitamin D and the mushroom is rich of ergosterol, which is precursor of vitamin D. So when ergosterol is exposed to UV light, then it produces ergocalciferol, which is a pre-vitamin D, and when ingested by human, it can be converted to vitamin D. So therefore, I think mushroom would be a very good source of vitamin D especially for vegans and vegetarian people.
Wow, that's so nice. Such a valuable insight, Dr. Amit. Because in India, a majority of the population is D deficient. There are certain data that reveal that out of 4, 3 people are D short. Even my kids are D short.
So you may remember, from COVID pandemics. I'm sure
Yeah.
everybody remember from COVID pandemics. So there are actually a lot of literature suggesting that people who are deficient in vitamin D have developed severe COVID. So I think there is a strong relationship, because we know physiologically it makes sense, because vitamin D has immune effects. It's like steroid, which has immune effect, a good immune effect. So if you have vitamin D deficient, you may not be able to mount immune response to many infections, including respiratory infections.
So, we discussed are very good options. Like even if people are vegetarians, they have what options they have to fulfill their D requirements.
The other options will be also fortifying milk, vitamin D, in vitamin D or breads or other sources as well. So there are other options too beside mushroom, but obviously mushroom is a good source of vitamin D.
My concern is that because India majority of the people are like vegetarians, so the fortification, yes, it's a good. Fortification is a good option, but most of the time fortification is done with the D3, right? So that could create a possible issue with the vegetarian population.
Oh, I see. Because you're thinking vitamin D3 is a
D3,
animal based.
yes,
So some
it's
people
more,
may think this is not a vegan diet or
it's
vegetarian
not,
diet.
it's
Yeah.
vegetarian.
Gotcha.
So in that case, yes, the potential solution would be definitely the high D mushrooms. So it could be the UV treated, right? Those are the UV treated mushrooms. So thank you so much, Amit, Dr. Amit. Thank you so much, and that's could be a valuable information for those who are actually D deficient, and those who are looking for the source or other options to fulfill their D requirements.
Thank you so much, Poonam, for having me here. It's my pleasure to be here.